Hi guys, Dave in Texas here, and what you're looking at is a really beautiful little Les Paul Chibson. Okay, very nice, beautiful top. I think that's a veneer. I have to check when I take the pickups out. But what the owner wants to do is to go ahead and replace everything on this guitar, except for the hardware. He wants all electronics out. They're going to put some new stuff in for him. Now, I just got my shipment from you-know-who. We're going to open it up, show you what we're going to put in this guitar. Some of it came from there. Some I have right here. And we're going to set this guitar up to sound just like you-know-what. So hang in there while we open this box up and show you what's going inside. Look at here, guys. New age Parsons Street pickups. Okay? The same PAF pickups that go into 59 Gibsons, made the exact same way. Beautiful sounding, okay? And what else we got going there? They're my favorite place. Put the paperwork away. We're going to go with a few new hardware pieces. We're going to go with a new stereo jack, okay? And we're going to go with a new gold three-way. That's Epiphone quality. And I also got the small one, just in case. I think we're going to go with the small one to replace his, because the ones they put in there, guys, are pretty much trashy. And it's better to go ahead and replace them now than to wait till they fail or become a problem. Especially when you're going to rewire the whole thing. And let me show you what we're going to be using on the wire-ups. Pretty cool stuff. We're going to use that original braided cord they have on the 59s, okay? And of course, for the controls, we're going to be using nothing but Gibson matched pots, okay? Now, the disassembly is kind of the fun part. Taking everything apart is not too bad. The bad part is when you start to wire everything in and get it running. And these pickups have their own wiring diagrams that come with them. So they're not just common pickups that any old wiring setup will work with. You got to follow their wiring diagram, which is kind of unique. So we're going to take it from start to finish on this guitar. Let you see how it's done. And if anyone else out there wants to have their Chibson done up to sound like the real thing, all you gotta do is bring it by the shop. That's what I do. And I do enjoy doing these. They're a lot of fun, especially when that owner gets them in his hands and hears it for the first time, how much it sounds, so much like a Gibson. And all the strings are off this thing. Tell you what, let's just go ahead and take the back off and start pulling out those other nasty old parts that don't need to be in there. And those we just cut away. We don't need to keep them. We will just snip the ends of the pickups. We won't cut them short. We'll just cut them right at the end of them so that you can use those on a different project you want to later on. Okay. So off all this comes. This all gets put into this envelope. Yeah, best thing to do, guys, when you're working on more than one guitar, have a big manila envelope that you can shut and keep things separate. Okay, so let's look inside this real quick. You're going to see some, these are the bigger pots, but they're still crapola. They sound bad, they play bad, they last even less. It's not grounded properly, the wire's just hanging out there in space. This is not what you call an excellent job, no matter what you think. So it's kind of like, well, if this is your guitar, trust me, you want to change these out because they just don't sound as good as Gibsons do, and it does affect the tone, Okay, so let's go ahead and get the rest of this off, and I'll be right back. Make sure it's real clear that quick disconnect, not for their pickups on this. That's for the three-way. That's all it connects to. and all the points therein that the three-way has to connect to. See, it's already starting to turn. That gold plating on there is already chipping off. Okay, so let's work on getting these off here. You can see he's got those chicken pointers on this. Ta-da! These little jewels here show you where 0 is, supposedly. So let's get those off and get those pots out of there. Let's cut away and go ahead and get the jack off. Okay, basically here's all we need. We got 4 brand new 500K Chibson potentiometers, right? Old style wiring, new Chibson 3-way, stereo plug, and of course I use stereo for stability. I clipped the extra piece off there so you don't end up using it, but the stability it offers allows you to use that thing for years, okay, without worrying about it getting loose and slipping. Just helps out. It's a little trick of the trade, so hang in there. Sorry guys, let's get the guitar jack out of its hole. The jack off. Good God. Where my mind goes. Okay, so that should be enough to get all these parts out of the body itself. Yep, there they all come. And they have support washers in there because they're too short or too long, I mean. Try to get them balanced. Let's see what else is in there. Let's jack out of there. Okay, so there they all are. And the trick is to cut these pickups off, leaving them as long as you possibly can. This black and yellow wire here. So I'm going to cut it right at the very edge of the connection. There we go. This ground wire is bare and exposed. I still can't believe they still do that. When it'd be so simple, just take some heat shrink and put it around that. This isn't going to become an issue with the guitar's, you know. So this isn't going to issue with the guitar's tone and bang up against stuff and cause weird grounding. Sorry for the noise, guys. It's that air conditioner going, and plus the fan's going right now. It's getting cooler in here. Again, you're looking at a older screw that's been exposed and a rusted out wire spring they've used. Now we have a good empty guitar. Now she's empty. Okay, except for the one little ground wire. Alrighty. Okay guys, what we got here is a pre-setup on this board, and I'm using this wire. It's been a long time since I used the old cable. One thing I did forget about it is it takes extra cleanup on it. In that, when you cut it, you got to trim off the frayed edges on it because it never cuts cleanly with your tool like that. It frays apart, right? And it's one single wire, so you can't bend it very readily and have to stay by twisting the threads around because there's no threads. One single wire, which is better. It gives a better signal. So, in essence, this is why I set it up. I got my end jack here, got my pots here. They're all spaced about right. I always make sure to leave a little bit of gap so they can put these in without them coming apart. Got my 3-way up here, way outside. And obviously you can't rely on your 3-way. You just run wires to it. You solder them off the body here. Let's do that again. You just solder off the wires to it and run them, you know, long enough to reach through the guitar and through the other hole. And the only thing that really can solder up, guys, are the contacts with the pots. They're not the pickups, and the end jack, right, its contacts. So there's not a lot to be done on this, but before we get to do any grounding on these, we need to take some cleaning fluid and clean off the back of these, because there's always a substance on these potentiometers that is part of that poly that they shrink them to. All right, so the solder doesn't want to stick to it. So you always take, a cleaning, something to clean them with, as well as something to scratch them with, to give them some type of a, better hold on the solder when you go to solder them up. Okay, well, for those inquiring minds, this is veneer. You can look up here, you can see where it's cracked. It's been chipped. Of course, I didn't do that, it came that way, unfortunately. It's definitely seen worse. But it's not a flame maple top. But it's beautiful veneer. It's really thin, but it's beautiful. So it's not, it's one of those guitars you can't really refinish. There's nothing to refinish. Underneath there's ash, very hard ash, and also that's a little present for everybody working on the guitar to find. And that's a big dollop of polish that ruins pickups. They left that behind to make a mess of things, unfortunately. So I have to get there and get all that cleaned out, which is a nice little added treat. Not really, but we'll get all that out of there. Okay guys, what we're looking at, I pulled the three-way through, and I'm about to solder those ends up on it, and I pulled through the other end as well, all these lead wires through, and I'll still be doing some soldering now on the potentiometers. Some more soldering needs to be done to them to cross wire them to ground them against each other according to the plans that came with these pickups. In the meantime, I got to make sure to solder these little leads here perfectly well. Get them in there, get them set. Alright, what I've done, I've intertwined these 3 ground loops here into this ground spot on the jack itself. And this is a Switchcraft 3-way. It's a little bit upscale compared to like All Parts, or it's on the same lines as the Epiphone switch, real one, not one from China that's a fake. And the trick here is to wrap these 3 wires all together and solder them all together so that they don't move, as well as close up the holes on that ground leg on the switch. That solder job is done, and it's a good strong solder joint. Okay, so that's about all there is to that. Okay, so what you're looking at now is what I call the final ground up on these pots. They have to be cross grounded. As you can see, it forms like a U shape, okay, but the U is never closed. You never have these 2 volume pots grounded to each other. It's volume to tone, and tone to tone. The grounding will take place with the 3-way switch when its grounding wires come in contact with the top of the volume pots. Alright, so I gotta peel these things back and get them set up to solder them down into down onto the pots themselves. You don't need a lot of wire to ground to, but you do want to make sure it's clean. And if you look real closely, when you use this type, it always ends up with threads hanging, okay? And that's because it's this old-fashioned corded wire. But as far as strength is concerned and conductivity is concerned, it's about the best you can get, other than a very thick, very thick gauge of electrical wire. So, okie dokie. Now, as you see, I've added these little clips here to the capacitors themselves so they don't get overheated. What these are called are heat sinks, and it stops the heat right there and takes it away from the cap itself. There we go. Okay, and let's see, what else can I fill in? That stays blank. That's to the switch. So that's all I can do right now on wiring on the outside of the guitar. The rest has got to take place inside of it. Okay, now you see everything's been put in place and all set up, 3 ways where it belongs. And next thing to do is test it and see how it plays. So we're going to string it up and get it set up to play. So hang in there. Okay guys, well, we've done a complete rewire on this guitar. Now it's time to string it up and check it to hear how it plays. Okay guys, here it is, the finished product, and it's way too high on the setup right now. It's just barely set up. Nice bright neck pickup. I'm sorry, nice bright bridge pickup. Bluesy neck, great little guitar now, guys. Sounds wonderful. And of course, main thing is this is way too high. It's like on 10/64s. But all I'm gonna do is lower that, tune it up, and it's set for the guy to pick up, and that's it.